Today, I'm taking a look at the Hoka Rincon after 100 miles. 15.80 miles, 9 minutes, 12 seconds per mile, 143 beats per minute today on average for my long run on Saturday. Getting those long runs longer and longer now as we recover from Houston and start building right up again for the Boston Marathon. And with today's miles, I was able to get the Hoka Rincon past the 100 mile mark. Now, before I give you my detailed thoughts on this shoe after 100 miles, I do want to go over some disclosures. This is a pair of shoes that was sent to me for the purpose of review. However, no one's paying me to make this video or to wear this shoe, and no one's going to get a chance to preview any of my footage or my thoughts before you guys get a chance to see this video on YouTube. Now, with the disclosures out of the way, let's talk about the Hoka Rincon after 100 miles. So let's dive right in first and talk about the outsole and the outsole wear, what that's been looking like. Relatively early on, you start to wear away at some of the exposed EVA foam that you're running on, and there's just a lot of exposed EVA here. To keep things light, there's only very small patches of rubber. The EVA foam does take a beating. For the most part, I think it's cosmetic. It's a lightweight 7.7 ounce shoe, listed weight with a 5mm heel drop. And I've been able to take this for my longer runs that needed a little bit of speed on it. That's where I think this shoe really shines. You can probably use it as a daily trainer, but if you're gonna have two shoes, like a daily trainer and a faster day shoe, this is definitely a good choice for that, because that's where this shoe really wants to be. For me, on some of those slower runs or days where I'm not going so fast, kind of like days like today, I find myself wanting to pick up the pace a little bit in the shoe, because that's really where the sweet spot of this shoe is. And in terms of the cushioning and how it feels on the outsole, it feels like a 100-mile shoe is probably the best way that I can explain it. I've been experiencing a lot of the newer foams and midsole materials that are out there, and some of them at 100 miles, you wouldn't hardly even know that the shoe has some miles already in them. With the EVA foam, you definitely start to see some degradation in terms of performance. It's not as fresh as the shoes were when you first got them, so it feels like a 100-mile shoe, which is fine because it is a 100-mile shoe. I still feel really comfortable running in the shoe. A 15.8-mile run today really wasn't a problem in terms of the shoe's performance. And lately, even though I've been trying not to pick up the paces as I'm recovering for Houston, I've been having to dodge some of the weather conditions that exist in Chicago lately. So I've had been able to pick up the pace a little bit, and the shoe is still responding really well, especially with changes in speed and quick changes in speed at that. Earlier, before the Houston Marathon, as I was using this shoe a lot, and as part of that buildup, I was running a lot of long runs, 13 to 15 to 18 mile long runs with this shoe, while having intervals in there. So it would be like mile repeats, or maybe a 5 or a 7 or a 9 mile stretch at either tempo pace or at marathon pace, something a little bit faster as I was preparing for that race. Still feeling like it would be fantastic for those if I were looking to do some workouts today at those longer, faster paces. In terms of what it looks like though, it does look pretty gnarly. It's been chewed up quite a bit. I wouldn't say it's horrible. I've seen other midsoles that look more chewed up in this amount of mileage, but you're definitely going to see it. I'm seeing it in some of the normal places where I see wear, which is right on the lower outside part of the heel down here, and I'm seeing some kind of in the midfoot ball of the foot area. I'm seeing more kind of towards the center of the shoe. This still I would consider in the forefoot of the shoe, but maybe a little bit further down than I would normally expect to see wear on a shoe that I'm wearing. But maybe that's because this is probably a spot that I would expect to see a little bit of rubber in most shoes, or maybe it's that 5mm heel drop that's making me strike the shoe on the ground a little bit differently than I normally would. But in either event, it looks a little bit chewed up, but it's performing just well. And I think that it kind of looked like that early on, and it's kind of maintained that appearance for most of the life and the time that I've had with the shoe. The rubber is holding up fantastically well. There's a little bit of wear right in this spot, which is where I would normally expect to see some wear. And again, down here towards the outer part of the heel is where I'm seeing a little bit of wear, but other than that, it's holding up really quite well. Now, I mentioned that it's a 5mm heel drop shoe, and that's a very different heel drop than what I normally like to run in, or what my preferences is. Normally I'm in, if I were to reach for a shoe, it's probably going to be in the 8mm to 10mm range. So this is a little bit different, 3mm different. But to offset that, or to help you out with that, there is the early stage meta rocker that is common in a lot of Hoka shoes, which is a feeling that you get where as you're walking in the shoe or running in the shoe, it feels like the top or the front end of the shoe kind of falls off the edge of a stair. And so that's that rocker. What it does is it kind of lifts the back of your foot up a little bit faster, so that way you can pick your foot up and get through the gait cycle quickly. So I think that also helps with the speed. So you're getting a nice balance of kind of two things. You're getting a lower heel drop, less heel stuff in here to get in your way, but you're also getting a way to still lean forward a little bit more with the assistance of your shoe. So a nice balance there. I like kind of the way that this shoe is configured for me, and its use case feels really nice. In terms of the upper, a lot of you guys had mentioned that you had lots of problems with the upper in terms of like it holding up over time. For me, the upper is holding up fantastically well. The upper still looks like a fresh shoe. I've been enjoying it. I haven't had any problems with any wear and tear. On the inner part of the left foot though, it has felt a little bit tight, and I'm not sure if it's the EVA foam that's curling up a little bit, or it's too tight and not as much volume as I need in the toe box here. But from the beginning, it felt very tight right in this spot, and I got a lot of rubbing. It still feels a little bit snug in this area, but I'm not really getting any rubbing or blistering anymore, but I still kind of feel the tension. I'm not sure if the shoe's loosening up or my foot's just getting used to being in the shoe, but over time, it's a problem that has resolved itself. I think another part of it is that this material is, while it is like flexible, it's a little bit tough of a material. And I'm not sure if that's what contributes to the tightness that I'm feeling. But on the other hand, on a shoe that's like this, where you want to go faster, you want it to be a little bit more snug in the forefoot. You want it to be more of like a slim or racer type fit in the forefoot, so that your foot doesn't move around too much while you're really trying to get up and moving. So ultimately, I like that. In terms of what they've done in padding around the heel collar and on the tongue, it's a very thin tongue. It's not like the padless tongues that are common in a lot of shoes that we're seeing these days. There's a little bit of padding here, or just material here, that's a little bit softer, and that works out well. And there's just a little bit of padding here right in the heel collar, right where in the part that touches your Achilles. I don't really notice this one way or the other, but in either event, it stayed out of my way while also being nicely locked down on the heel cup. So feeling good about this. I just like the way that this entire shoe is put together. I've been really enjoying it, especially for the use case of those longer, faster runs. Anything where you need to pick up the pace a little bit, the Rincon is definitely there to run with you on that. If you have any other questions about the Hoka Rincon, put them in the comments down below. I'd love to talk to you guys about it a little bit more down there. Now, before I go, I want to talk to you guys about the charity runner for the week. Now, last week's charity runner was Jason Savageau, who's running the Boston Marathon and raising money for the Massachusetts Institute for the blind and visually impaired. And to wrap up his week, we had 4 additional donors. Sam Watson at Sam's Running Again with $10. We have Mafeton with $10. Zach and Allie coming in with $50. Thanks so much, guys. That's a very generous donation. And Leona coming in with $10 as well. With those last 4 donations, we now have come to a total of $512 raised for Jason Savageau's fundraising efforts last week. That's just an absolutely mind-boggling figure in my mind. It just goes to show what we can do when we run as a pack and lead from the front. Thanks so much, guys, for all of your donations. It's greatly appreciated, and I will speak for Jason as well to say thank you. He definitely appreciates your fundraising efforts as well. This week we have Yusei Tong, and he's raising money for the Nippon Foundation, and he's going to be running the Tokyo Marathon. This week we also have Unived as a sponsor, I guess, of the Charity Runner of the Week. They reached out to me and said, we'd love to sponsor a Charity Runner of the Week this week. So there's a promo code down in the description down below, where if you are, at least from the US website, if you're buying product from there, you'll get 5% off for you, and also 5% will go to the Charity Runner of the Week this week. So super excited about that, to have them on board and helping out as well. Again, running together as a pack. Very happy to have them with us. So that's all I have for today, everybody. Thanks so much for making it all the way to the end of the video, and I will see you guys tomorrow.
Yo, what's going on?